Hi there, this is Aaron. Well, it's been quite some time since you've seen me, and I guess you're wondering how everything's doing at the allotment. Well, it really has been some time, hasn't it? I guess technically this is day 2 on the allotment, but day 1 was back in March and possibly February, right at the beginning of the year, and now the growing season's in full flight. Now, I have cheated slightly because this isn't my allotment. If you were thinking, oh my god, he's let it all go to rack and ruin, this is actually the allotment that's next door to me, and the owner has given up. And as you can see, it's an absolute weedy mess. And I've had to contend with this all through the year, trying to keep it back. It's been a bit of a battle to keep everything back, but I think I've won most of it. But let me show you my allotment, and you can see how we've been getting on. Let's start at the very beginning. This is my rhubarb that everyone's seen for the last few years. I had an amazing rhubarb crop this year, and it's still coming. I've pulled off so much of this rhubarb, and it's really nice, it's really sweet. There's probably more rhubarb than we can actually use on just this one plant, and as you know, I've got 2 plants. That's giving me a bit of an idea about maybe I should sort of get rid of one of the rhubarb plants, and these are things that I'm toying with. But you can see that the rhubarb's there. It's a bit of a weedy mess in there. I've kept everything around it, and I would like to get this area sorted, and so I'm wondering whether this is the rhubarb that I do without. Having said that, this is actually the best rhubarb out of the 2. So I'm still thinking about it, but giant rhubarb is still there. Here are my currant bushes, which have really gone absolutely mental. I haven't been able to pick all of the currants. I've still got red currants here, and I've picked pounds and pounds of them, and they're still coming. They're tasting slightly sour now, but they've been absolutely gorgeous throughout the year. Very, very pleased with the currants, and no plan really to get rid of them. I am thinking that it's been really hard to pick these the further into the centre, and so I'm hoping that what I can do is to take these plants in. This is a double row, and if I take these 2 plants out and bring them around the side, that will give me more of a keyhole entry, and that'll make it much easier to pick the currants. So that's my plan for the year ahead, but so far this year they've been brilliant. I've only got this, which have been my carrots for this year, and these are really huge now, really growing and doing extremely well actually. I'm very, very pleased with these. These are sweet candle that I am growing for the show, and also to eat obviously, and I am hopeful that this year I'm actually going to have a decent carrot. They're lovely and healthy. What I've got these growing in here, the container is just full up with a mixture of coir and earth, muck, whatever was at hand that's been sieved, and then on top I've put quite a thick layer of wood chips. And what I did is first of all start off with a shallower layer of wood chips, put the carrot seed in, and then as the carrot seed started to grow through the wood chips, I've put more and more wood chips on top. Wood chips seems to have the same kind of effect as perlite and vermiculite, particularly vermiculite, which you put it on top, because the air gets in there and the plants that you want seem to come through. So that's really worked for me, and these are lovely thick stems. So I'm hopeful not just for the show, but also for some good Christmas carrots this year. Here I've got some more carrots. These are just some carrots that I just happen to have lying around. There's 2 varieties in here. There's Cosmic Purple and there's Touchant. And the seed was a good few years old, so I just tried it to see what would happen. And it's actually doing very, very well. Now the other thing I've got in here, which I can show you, are some white icicle radish. And these are gorgeous. These are really, really hot actually. And there's a few of these that I can pull out. And I've had the white icicle growing with the carrots, and they seem to have liked it pretty well together. So that's worked, and that's something I'll try another time. The carrots have probably overshadowed the white icicle now, but the whole idea is that these grow pretty quickly, and these have actually shot up quite recently. So that's really worked. And again, this is a mixture of coir and just muck that was lying around that I've topped up with wood chips, and that's kept the weeds down. So really pleased with that. Now this, I'm very pleased to say, are my beans for this year. And I'm so pleased about this. I don't know if you remember, but for the last couple of years I've tried to grow beans on this plot and have had no success whatsoever. They keep getting destroyed when they were young plants. So I tried something new this year, and what I did, if I show you, is I wrapped them up when they were just in with the wigwams around with some netting, very, very fine netting. And I kept that in place with pegs. So as the plants grew up and started to get established, and I think it was rabbits that was having them, so as they grew up and got beyond a point where rabbits could chew the tender tips on the top because it was too high for them, at that point I was able to take the netting off, and this is the result. Now I've got quite a few different varieties here. I've got a variety of runner bean which is called Scarlet Empire. Now, some of you may have heard of Scarlet Emperor, and this is a improved variety of Scarlet Emperor. Scarlet Emperor was known for being a stringless bean, and this one is apparently even more stringless, and it's supposed to have a really, really good taste. So I'm thoroughly looking forward to that. I'd had no luck with Blue Lake French beans for a couple of years, and so I decided to try the one that everybody else seems to have real success with, which is Cobra. And you can see these are to the top of the canes. They're going to have some nice flowers coming, so really pleased about that as well. Now behind me I've got a combination of a exhibition runner bean, which is apparently really long, and my Bolotti beans for the year. So looking forward to having Bolotti beans again. They were absolutely gorgeous. The taste on those is amazing. And so hopefully in the next couple of weeks they'll be coming. And then behind me I have a combination of pea beans and also a second variety of French bean. So I did try the Blue Lakes as well. So we're going to see what we get this year, to see if I can actually have some better beans than I have last year. Here I've got my peas growing, and the variety of these is Douce Provence, and I really, really like the taste of these. They're a very, very sweet pea. They seem to do well. Now behind it is a bit of a weedy mess, and we'll talk about that later. But they've done very well, and they've also come through and held through the season. That's the second sowing that I've done of those. My first I got quite early in May, and these ones we're nearly through to the end of July now, and so they're still coming. So really pleased about that. Of course, you know, if you've got fresh peas, they don't all get home, do they? Now, one of the other things that I've not really managed to grow is a courgette, and this is the best I've managed to get a courgette plant since I started growing. It's not the tallest, but we have got some flowers on it, and I do hope that if we keep getting plenty of rain and lots of sunshine as well, that I might actually manage to get a courgette this year. Something else that I've done better with this year than in previous years is brassicas, as in I've got more of them growing. I've always managed to grow lettuce without any problem, but never seemed to be able to grow cabbage or cauliflower or Brussels sprouts. Now I've got a Brussels sprout at the end here, which is doing very well, and that's Crispus. I've got my lettuces, and they are L'Oloroso, but I've also got in here drumhead cabbage, and I've also got some all year round cauliflower in here, and this seems to be doing okay so far. I've got some beetroot in there, which I'm going to pull for the show as well. So all in all, I've got more brassicas than I've had growing in the past, and it all seems to be coming along okay. So fingers crossed for this. These are my potatoes for the year, and you can see that they're going over. With all the wet weather we've had, there's probably a very good chance of blight as well. So it's time I'm going to be emptying these. I grew the same varieties as I grew last year. I have International Kidney, which of course, as everybody knows now, the Jersey Royals. This is Kestrel. Then there is Nadine in front, and then the next row ahead, I don't know if you can see that from this angle, is the legendary Sharp O'Meara's. So I'm hopeful that I've got some really good potatoes this year. What I did this year is I took some muck and I just put sort of 3 inches in the bottom, then 2 potatoes, then another 3 inches of muck. So that's 4 potatoes in total in the dice pattern, in the layers. Now then what I did is I didn't fill it up with the muck and the fertiliser. What I did is I just sort of covered them with the muck and the fertiliser, and I put wood chips on top. Now that made the whole process a lot quicker. Whether it will make the whole process a lot better remains to be seen, but it made everything easier because I wasn't carting barrow load after barrow load of muck around. So if I've hit on something here, I will share it with you. And I need to be emptying these potatoes out pretty soon. These buckets are sitting on top of a tarpaulin. Now, on top of the tarpaulin, I've just put loads and loads of wood chips. Now, the idea is, I think, that as the wood chips absorb moisture, so that they're providing an environment for the potatoes to grow out through the pots, so that they can still get to some moisture, and it's a good environment for them. Now the reason that I covered this is because of the mare's tail, because the mare's tail was enormous here, but as you can see, the mare's tail has grown through the tarpaulin, and I'm really not sure I have another option except to start to use poison here. I was having a conversation with Sean, and he says, I reckon more people use poison than admit to it. I just don't see any other way. This mare's tail is getting worse, not better. There is one of my neighbours that has just given up, and one of his beds is completely given over to mare's tail. So if he can't do it, and I mean he's a retired chap, he gets up here whenever he wants to. So somebody with me that has limited time, what chance have I got? So I'm thinking I'm going to have to poison this once I've got the potatoes up. Now these are the giant leeks that were sent to me by Roland. They didn't all survive the transport, but I have got a few of them over there, and they're doing really well, and so I'm very hopeful for the leeks. I'm not growing them in buckets. I just wanted to see what the wood chips would do to them, and they've got quite a girth on them, and so I'm really pleased. All of my alliums this year have been absolutely brilliant. If I show you the garlic that I pulled up, this again is really good garlic. I had great garlic last year. I've had brilliant garlic this year. Now I've been away for a couple of weeks, which is why we've got all of these weeds here. I have been weeding it. I've only needed to weed it once a month, but we've had absolutely torrential weather for the last 2 weeks. And so this is what happens when you don't weed anything for 2 weeks. Not as bad as it could be, but we've got even more rain coming, and apparently we've got frost coming. So I'm actually now going to take these onions up. And it's the same story as last year, that they've been placed into the ground, and then the wood chips mulched around them. So in theory, it should just be as easy as pull. So that's my onions up this year. They're a good handful size. They're not as big as last year, but I didn't expect them to be. But that's just taken me a couple of minutes to pull these up. How long did it take you to pull your onions up this year? Tell me if it was any easier than this. Here I've just got the last of my Stuttgarter Giants, which are a gorgeous onion. The other onions are Kelsey's. Now there is a suspicion, and I have no way of proving this, that the Kelsey onions I planted were actually seed that were over a year old. But whether it was or not, I mean, I'm certainly pleased with the results that I've got. These have now all fallen over. And let's see, it's just a matter of pulling them up. So that's my haul for the year. I can show you some that I pulled up earlier that they flopped over early. And you can see that they're a reasonable size as well. I've got a good set of onions here, certainly enough to see me through the year. So the onion harvest has once again been a success. So there we have it. Oh boy, it's been so long since you've seen me, and it's been so long since I've been able to tell you everything that's going on. As you can see, I haven't spent as much time up here, and I haven't been able to get up here because of pressures. But what I have been able to do when I've been here is to concentrate on the growing, and that's been really good for me. It's brought me to this point where I've got a good harvest, and I'm very pleased with that. So all in all, this has been a season that has been very worthwhile. I'm going to try and make this more regular now that we're getting towards the part of the year where I'm hopefully freed up to make some videos. So hopefully you can see more of what we've been doing, and it's always good to hear from you. So until then, I will see you next time, I promise, on the Allotment. Goodbye.